Hi, I am Naomi Robertson. I was in Learning Team 3, so some of my books are going to be from that section. So I know that we need to talk about which uh, social studies theme we chose. So I chose people, places, and environment. And basically, it's just the study of people, places, and environment that enables us to understand the relationship between human populations and the physical world. So it talks about why people are living in the places they're living, the climate, how it's changed since people have been there, um, the human population, and basically you could talk about migration, um, and just basically humans. So I think that was pretty cool, and I definitely think that some of these um, of the books definitely show that as well. So when I'm gonna start with my first book, and the one I chose to choose the poet from is Another Jar of Tiny Stars. Let's see if you can see it there. And this book to me was really cool. I actually enjoyed some of the poems out of it. So, one of the poems I chose was from Lillian Moore, and it's on page 50, and it's titled If You Catch a Firefly. So, this is what it says. If you catch a firefly and keep it in a jar, you might find that you have lost a tiny star. If you let it go back then, back into the night, you may see it again, once again, star bright. Um, I chose this one because one, I just really enjoy summer, and I enjoy fireflies or lightning bugs, and I think people could really relate to this poem, and I think this relates to my social studies theme because people are catching wildlife and they are showing it, and I think if we release it back into the wild, we get more chances to see it more as well. And I know that definitely having people move into where these creatures are definitely has hurt some of them. So, by like them not being able to be there. So, I definitely think that this was a good one, just a fun one, definitely for summer. And now that we're getting ready to finish summer session as well. So, yes. So, the next book I chose was Charlotte's Web, and I enjoyed this book a lot. I actually got the one that has colored pictures in it, so you can kind of see. I think this is Fern's mother and her doctor. And I think that this book was also a good part for my social studies theme because this talks about us having what once were wild animals and now taking care of them to be, well, in this case, it was Fern's pet at one point. Um, and we continue to just basically take care of the animals. So, if you don't know a little bit about the book, it's basically Charlotte's Web is what it's called, and it's about a little girl named Fern who ends up saving her pig that her father is going out to end up slaughtering because he is the runt. And basically, he keeps getting saved throughout the book, and it's actually a really good children's book, so I will be using this in my classroom. So that's Charlotte's Web. Um, One of the next books I have is the Poetry Friday Anthology for Celebrations. And the really cool thing about this one is that it is also translated into Spanish. And I really, really, really liked that because my my minor was actually at one point for students who were English learners. So, but I definitely know where I'm going to be going, that I'm going to have students who need the Spanish translation. So I think that works out really well. Um, so there were a couple in here that talked about certain animals or talked about new days, and that talked about different events basically that just go on throughout the year. And I think this is important, and I think this also connects with my social studies theme because without these, certain places have certain holidays, and so humans have different holidays for different things. So certain countries may celebrate something where here in the US we do not. So I think that's kind of cool that you can see some of those days. I know one of the days in here that it kind of talks about is, I do think it was the Day of the Dead, if I remember. And I know that we um, do not celebrate that. So I think that's just really cool that that also incorporates other countries' themes as well. My next book I'm going to talk about is The Man Who Walked Between the Towers. This one here. This one kind of touched a soft spot for me because after the Twin Towers collapsed, my dad actually had to go recover the bodies that were found there. So for me, this book definitely hit a soft spot in my heart. For my social studies theme, I think that this goes along with it because we are building buildings in places that did not have buildings at one point. And I think that that's really cool that we are doing that, but I think we also should incorporate a lot of land at the same time and should be able to keep a lot of trees in certain places and that kind of thing. Sorry, I'm flipping through it because I just like looking at the pictures. So my favorite part about this book is that Philippe is basically just wanting to perform and make people happy. And I think that that is such an important thing, that people need happiness. And I think that it is so cool that he was brave enough to go do something that people told him not to. And he did it just to make sure that people were getting enjoyment. So this is another book that I definitely will have in my classroom just because it's a lot of, it's cool. He likes to make people happy, and that's what I'm here to do as well. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Let's Talk About Race. This is what it looks like. Sorry, the glare from the computer. This book was different. This one I'm definitely, if I have an older classroom, I would put this in, but I don't think I'd put this in for a younger classroom, only because there were some things in here that I didn't agree with per se. There were one part where he was talking about how it says, why would some people say their race is better than another? Because they feel bad about themselves, because they are afraid. And this says because, and then it goes on to say, you know, different things. I don't think people are afraid of another race. I just don't think they agree with it. And there were some things in here that I just didn't think I agreed with Julius Lester's point of view. So, it was an okay book, but I definitely think that I would struggle to have this in my classroom for younger kids. So, yeah. For the social studies theme, I think this would just go for having new races and trying to learn from them and what they can talk about. The next one I have is We Are All Born Free. And this one was cool because it talked about all the things that kids are allowed to do, and it is that they have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I think that goes really well with my social study theme because we are talking about humans. So this book was definitely a book I would have in my classroom as well. The next one I have is the story of water on Earth, and I think that this was a really good one because it definitely gave some insightful information about how much water we're using up as a human race and how much water places and things actually need. So I think that fit well with my social studies theme because it is talking about the world, but it's also talking about, you know, when humans move, what happens, that this planet's the only planet we get for water, that, you know, how much water certain things need, what we can do to help keep the water there. So yeah, this one probably is the closest one that I would say that would go with my social studies theme, and I liked this one. I just liked that it had actual facts in it, so I think my students would enjoy that as well. One of the books I picked next was Before It Wriggles Away by Janet Wong. I thought this was cool because this was her writing it wasn't somebody else, and it just basically talks about how she became a children's author. I'm not really sure how this fits into my social studies theme. Maybe just because, you know, it talks about, you know, all the things she's had to do to get to where she's been, and humans all have to go through that. So I would say that's probably the reason why. families is the last one I have. And the other thing about this one would probably be, there were a couple cases in here where they were from different countries, and we can learn in how this is the back picture, how we can learn from other countries and how other people act, and what we can learn from them. So that's what I would say about that one. So I just want to say thank you for a great summer semester, or whole together. It was awesome having you as a teacher, and thank you for the great feedback and helping me learn a lot of new things. So I hope you have a great school year coming up. Thanks.